Hello friends, welcome to Programming Concepts. My name is Amit and this is part 39 of ASP.NET Core MVC tutorial. In this video, we will implement functionality to add new employees in .NET Core MVC. This is continuation to part 38, areas in .NET Core MVC. So please watch it before proceeding to this one. I shared the link in the description. Let's get back to Visual Studio. And this is the project which we are working on. Let's go to the employee controller, create a new method. So public view result, and let's name it add employee. And it will return view, simple. Add HTTP get attribute on top of this method, as this will going to be our get request. So our controller is ready to receive requests to create a new employee. All right, let's create a page that our end user will see. So right click, add view, and let's name it add employee. Let's associate the model employee with it. So add model employee. Let's create title for this page. So add within curly braces view data, and the key name will be title is equal to, let's say, add employee. Let's also specify the layout page to reuse the UI structure. So layout is equal to ~views /shared /layout.cshtml. Let's give the heading to this page. So within the H4 element, write add employee form, and then provide HR element for horizontal line. Let's create a div and use the bootstrap class row for styling. Let's create another div and use bootstrap class col-md-6 for column and m-1 for margin. Now we need to create a form. We haven't covered the forms or form tag helper in this playlist yet. No worries though, as the name suggests, it is there to send form data back to our server. Basically post back kind of thing which we were doing in .NET Framework. Let's create a form. So form, then we need to define which controller we are pointing this form to. So asp-controller is equal to employee. Then which action, and the action name is add employee. So asp-action is equal to add employee. And finally, what kind of request it will generate? We will go to post our data. So the method is equal to post. And our form is ready. But wait, there is nothing in this form. Let's create labels and text box which can represent our employee class. So to create a new employee, we require three basic information, which is the name of the employee, his salary, and the department. Let's create them. Let's create another div for styling and use the bootstrap class form-group. Next, we need a label to display some data. So label, and let's use label tag helper attribute asp-for. As the name suggests, it will bind the property name of our model. So asp-for is equal to name. And let's use another bootstrap class, control-label. Next, we need to give a text box, so where end user enter the data. So let's use the input element. And to bind it with our model, let's use the same tag helper attribute, which is asp-for, and it will be equal to the name, and use the similar bootstrap class form-control. Let's just copy and paste the div twice for salary and department. Replace name with salary in the first div, and then replace the name with department in the second div. And we are done with all three required fields. Next, let's create another div and use bootstrap class form-group space row space empty-2 for margin top. Let's create another div within this and use class d-grid space call-md-6, which will be going to take 50% width, and copy and paste this div once more. Now, within the first div, provide submit button. So input type is equal to submit, value is equal to submit, and class is equal to btn space btn-primary. Within the second div, use the anchor element to get back to the list of employees, which is our index page. So an asp-action is equal to index. No need to provide a controller because we are in the same controller. Let's use bootstrap class to give some color to this button. So class is equal to btn space btn-secondary. And text will be back to list. And that's it. Our UI is ready. Let's write a code to apply some validation. So let's use asp-validation-for attribute. So span asp-validation-for is equal to name, and class is equal to text-danger. Just copy and paste this line with salary and department as well, and change their attribute value to salary and department. So this attribute asp-validation-for will check for constraints applied at our class level. Let's see what constraints or validation we had applied so far within our employee class. If you look at our employee class, we only applied the key attribute on top of ID. Let's make these properties mandatory. Let's just apply required validation attribute on top of all these properties. And if you go to its definition, you can see it is present under system.componentModel.data annotation namespace and inherited from validation attribute. Now we specify that these fields are mandatory, and we link them in our view with the help of asp-validation-for attribute. Now when end user click on submit button, we need one action method to receive those data. Let's create another action method. Just copy and paste the existing one. If you remember, let's go to our view. We select method as post within our form tag. So instead of HTTP GET, let's decorate our newly created method with HTTP POST attribute. We are expecting data of type employee, so create an input parameter employee of type employee. Now here is one more thing which we need to do. We need to apply and check if model state is valid or not. So apply one if condition and let's check model state dot is valid. It is for server side validation in case client side validation failed for any reason. If it passes, we will insert data into our database. And let's display a message employee added successfully. So let's create viewback.message is equal to data inserted successfully. And make this viewback empty at the top for subsequent requests. Use this viewback in our view. So let's create div at the top. Use class text-danger and use add viewback.message. And that's it. Let's run the program. Click on submit and you can see the default message from the compiler. Enter some dummy data. Let's say the name will be Jack, salary will be 10,000 and department will be 3. Click on submit and you can see we are getting the required message, data inserted successfully. I know very basic stuff, but good enough to get you going. Just in case you don't like the default message, you can change it too. Let's see that. Let's stop the application. Within employee class, open bracket after the required attribute. And you can see there are multiple properties that we can use. Let's use the property error message and the message will be employee name is mandatory. And that will work. Let's quickly implement our code to insert data into our database. I wrote this code to save time. Let me just copy and paste it into our SQL DB layer class. If you look at this code, we received the employee object as a parameter and saved it into the database. Simple insert into table command. All right, let's use this method in our controller. We already created an object of iEmployee repository. So let's use this variable underscore repository. So within our index method, let's type underscore repository and then press dot. But our newly created method is not available for selection. Another method getEmployee is available, but addEmployee is not available. Can you guess why? It's simply because underscore repository is referencing our interface iEmployee repository, not the SQL DB layer. Dependencies will be resolved at runtime. We covered dependency injection in part 21 of this video series. If you are new to this concept, please watch that video first. I will share the link in the description. So just copy the method definition and paste it into our interface. Now, if you try, you will get the addEmployee method to use. Just pass employee object to it. And that's it. Let's run the program. Navigate to employee/addEmployee. Click on submit. You see we are getting our custom message here. Enter some dummy data. Click on submit. And you can see data inserted successfully. Let's confirm by visiting our home page. You can see the new employee added. Data available in the last column. Let's quickly apply the breakpoint within our method. And navigate to employee/add employee. Click on submit without entering any value. And you can see validation happening at server level. But how can we do validation at client level to avoid this post back? We'll see that in our upcoming video. Alright then, that's it in this video. If you have any queries related to the content of this video, do ask me in comments. Till then, thanks for watching.